Welcome back to another video, guys. This time we're going to be on How to African Queer. You might remember me from How to Nomad, the Underwhelming How to Step, and the devastating How to Nile Delta. But African Queer, and this time we're going to try and cover the full map in under 5 minutes. Now, of course, it's a nomad start map, meaning you have to try and look around for your TC in the beginning, try and find the perfect spot. I would recommend going towards the edge of the map, closer to the wood lines, but you want to get it on a pond so you can get the food income. You might get very lucky, you might have a double pond, but as long as you get it on a pond, I think that's the main thing you got to be looking for. When TC's going up as well, you could be looking around for your opponent's orange box, some vital information you could be getting. Now you want to be going straight to food from the very beginning, so you can get your TC running. Ideally, you should be scouting around with your sheep so you can find more ponds, some rhinos, and some elephants. Ideally, you could bring them home at a later stage, and that will help delay farms a little bit longer. Now, where to lumber camp is always a question. You could go towards the edge, but you could also lumber camp the baobab trees, which do have double wood. Ideally, you should be putting about 3 on wood for the Dark Age. Now, when to take your shorefish next to your TC, that's a good question. That is pretty safe because it is next to your TC, so you might think about going for an early mill and going for the more risky fish earlier on. You can always come back to the safe fish as it gets later into the Feudal Age. Nice kind of safety valve to have. You should be aware these ponds will get a little bit more risky as you do get into Feudal Age, and as you get into Feudal Age, I do think the best approach to go for is probably a military approach. There's just so much value for taking map control. You probably do want to wall with your buildings, and you probably want to just be wary of all your exposed resources. I do prefer scouts as an opening, largely down to the mobility option. You probably will find some exposed villagers, and walling in ponds isn't the easiest thing to do, and if you do have good numbers you could easily take out 3 or 4 vills. Probably a good reminder to try and wall in your wood line if you're on the outer side, and it's probably the easiest part. Walling baobab trees isn't easiest. Now, archers certainly are an option, probably if you're closer towards your opponent. If you're on the other side of the map, probably not as much. Archers though can complement the scouts very well if your opponent does go for some spears, and if you do go for archers yourself, also a good idea to complement with some spears in case they go for scouts themselves. You could go for some towers, but I don't rate towers too much. So much resources on the map. It's probably not the best use of your stone, and it doesn't really gain you too much map control unless someone's backed into a corner. Now, you could be wary of the fast castle coming in, but as it is a risky situation, you see a market in the blacksmith, that's a good giveaway. There's just so much value from taking map control on this, from all of the extra food that you can get from the ponds. This is what I recommend the most. Now, getting to Castle Age first is always going to be super important as in any game, because you are going to get access to much better units, especially in the form of military. Don't be too surprised if someone is beginning to go for a castle so they can have access to unique units. If you are going to go for a castle, I think going for a defensive approach is the best thing to do, especially if your opponent does some military out in the field. You've got to make sure you get that castle up. Now, definitely be wary of very good unique units, especially the ones with high mobility, the ones that can do damage. It wouldn't be too unusual to see a monastery opening here to try and deal with this. And if you're defending, you might need to go for some towers or some other counter units in the form of pikemen or camels. But I think the map is best tended towards being aggressive. If you do add siege, you need to be quite concerned. It's very open, so it's very easy to get picked off or get counter-baited. Now, adding more TCs, you probably want to look towards the edge. On the wood line, you can only get attacked from one angle, and also probably expanding onto the ponds as well, where you can make use of the shorefish. Now, the shorefish is going to run out at some point. You do need to add farms a little bit easier to keep track of, and also going to be safer for your economy as you can garrison the villagers in there, which you do need to be concerned about raids as we are getting into Imperial Age. Now, with castles probably going up, strong unique units will be an option for either player here. You do need to be concerned if you're going to be up against certain things, thinking about the counters you can go for, but also you maybe want to be going for trebs, so you might need another unit from another building to help support. As you can see, as the game does get on in Imperial Age, map exploration, map control, super important to get these extra resources. These are 6 civs that I think suit the map really well. These civs should be pretty good at making the best out of the map. The bonuses you can see on screen. Go and try them out, tell me what you think, leave a comment below in the video. If you've enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe, and you can follow me on these channels here. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.